It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like
forward.
a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
My name is Tawny Kitaen and Mykelti. I live in Khayelitsha, Cape Town.
My name is Mzwandile Lukoko. I was born and raised in Durban, but now I'm staying here around Khayelitsha in Side B in L section.
Hello, I'm Anele Swandlo. I live in Khayelitsha, Side B.
My name is Zingsani Nkanjini. I'm from Khayelitsha.
My name is Mondesi Tole from Khayelitsha, Cape Town.
First, we should define fatherhood, and immediately define that, we'll understand what role should the father play in the society.
And in the context of Africa, we should also look at intergenerational habits or traumas or issues that had happened in the past that contributed in the present for the whole society. Because we're now, as much as we're speaking about what our own experiences are, but our fathers also have experiences as a collective. And also you look at during the times of the Land Act, where a lot of men in South Africa, especially black men, were taken out of their homes to go work in the mines, and therefore have to leave the babies. They have to come. They had to come maybe twice a year to come see their family. I think also we're able to look at the source in which how it then happened, and that didn't only happen in South Africa. It happened in many countries all over the world. So we should also look at the source in the source of that. Of how the structures of home were broken down. So now it became an intergenerational habit that you'd find that fathers are not with their I cannot be surprised if it happened genetically, that becomes encoded within the fatherhood structure of a society. It becomes, if your DNA can able to record something. So it makes it a norm, it makes it a habit, it makes it part, you normalize it into a society. So I feel that the past also has its effect in the present.
But to interject on what you said, but I think we need to conscientize fathers about that. That we should not treat these things as something that is normal. Because in the poor and marginalized societies, a homes where it's being headed by women is something that is tend to be nominalized because of what you said. But I think now it's time to conscientize and say there's nothing normal about this because having a broken family is not something, it's not sexy. We understand what happened before with capitalism and slavery and in terms of labor immigration, but now what else that as a man that should play? But why raise something that is very crucial, that we can provide it, we can give a financial support, but if you're not there to give emotional support, if there's absenteeism on what you're doing as a father, that can hinder, because you can give your child 5,000 rand per month, but are you giving your child love? I can be unemployed, but I can still my child, they can still respect me as a father because I give them love and they give me back respect, because money sometimes doesn't buy happiness, but what you do sometimes is the one that determines what should happen. Because some of the families, there's families that living below poverty line. And when you get there, you find there's a unity, there's happiness. You go to the middle class families where you find that there's no communication. A father is sleeping in one room, a mother is sleeping in one room, children are sleeping in one room. There's a broken family, but they're still in one structure, and that have an impact in terms of how your kids get raised, because that. Money doesn't buy happiness for a family. Money doesn't buy you to be a father for visit. But if you love and care with your child,
most of the time, like Tina, we don't listen to kids. We don't know our kids. We don't know what they like, what they want. We are just having these preconceived ideas of what we want out of these kids. They're like commodities, you see, that actually fulfill what we want in life, you see. So there's not a conducive, engaging, integrated relationship between the kids, you see. So for me, I'm trying to actually have that vibe and ambience between my kid, you see.
What I'm doing now with my kids, if he can just came in now, he don't even call me say father. He called me by the name Zwai. Then we sit down, we play. As a person who's running the organization, I feel like he's another member to the organization because everything that we do, he's always there. I make sure that he's involved. And we sit down, probably he's 2 years old. He's not speaking well, but he invented his own languages. You know, he invented his words. So when we are in the house, because the house that we're staying in, we call it the lounge, because that's where we guys met, because we're doing different activities. So he normally hang around here, he listens to us when we talk, and he knows all the guys that are there. And know that if I'm not there, so-and-so is there, he knows that this one will play the role of a father to me. Although he knows that his father is so-and-so. And what we're doing, sometimes I take him to go to the park. Just imagine a guy on this age of mine who's staying in a township who's like, yeah, buffet to organize, taking a baby boy to a park. It's something else. Like, you carry yourself as a white guy, you know. And also I take him to the beach. I take him to play soccer. Sometimes I even take these clothes of mine, running cars on the street. If it means I have to sit down, I have to listen to him. He knows and he knows. If I'm talking to them, we're having the meeting. I said, guys, wait. I need to talk to him. And he will be repeating the same thing again and again, just seeking their attention. But I gave it to him.
It happens even indirectly that the kids actually, they mimic the fathers, you see. So there's a very subtle role that the fathers play in the whole thing. And it becomes very intergenerational, because if the father portrays a certain, let's say he portrays a certain character, which is fatherhood, then the kids instantaneously will follow in that, and it will become a culture, and it will become a trend, and it will become a norm, you see. So I think they play a very crucial and a very incremental role in that aspect, I would say.
I change the nappies. Even now I do change the nappies. I wash him. If I have to sit down, wash him for 2 hours, I take the warm water out and put the cold one inside and do that rotation just for know that the daddy's here. I'm not the father to my baby, but I'm a daddy.
We're speaking in a manner that the role that actually needs to be played by fathers. But the question is the role really played by fathers, you see. I'm not trying to actually demoralize the efforts that are actually made by few number of fathers. But because the kids, it's like education. We are the product of our education. And we're educated by our community. And fathers are a part of that education, you see. So if you see young boys, they're actually products of this education that they actually mimic, they actually get from these fathers, you see. So there's a bit of the role of fatherhood has eroded in a way.
Most people, they have that trademark of the men are the dogs. As much as all men are not the same, as we playing the part to bring back the dignity of a man. But all in all, I would say, yeah, the men are playing a huge role, an important role, as much as we still instilling the mentality of being a father figure.
And most of the time you hear that when women speak, they would be able to say that at some point I take out my anger onto my child and tell him that your father is a dog, you know? So what happens that the mother, because of the anger of what happened, because the father is not there, she would say words that dehumanizes the father, and therefore the child grows up into, when he becomes a father, he himself now mimics that, he now plays that role. So at some point there are those dynamics that play into place in how boys become fathers, and what role do they really play, and how the society as a whole, what they see, plays a role.
The relationship between the children, the mother of our children, most of us, we no longer together with them. So once the relationship ends with the mother, she expects you to end the relationship with the kid. although she don't say it, but the way she do things, as if like you are here for her, but you are not there for her, you are here for your kid.
Judging by the number of young boys who are in this, who are acting, it's very alarming because they actually signal, they are saying more, you see. They're showing, they're actually exhibiting what they've actually learned from communities, fathers that just Saturday, fatherhood is about buying 5,000 and dressing and drinking, but there's no certain la dignity, what you're talking about, that sense of okay.
I think what we need, but I think what we need first to understand, we should firstly define what you mean when you say father. Is our definition around the issues of fatherhood is being built because of a male? Now the community or the society that we raised by, we were saying that because of the male, by virtue that you are the male, automatically becoming a father.
My father died when I was 3 months old. He was on his way to Eastern Cape. He was driving for himself, and then he crashed with a car. That's my story of fatherhood. Yeah, but because of that story, that did not discourage me from being a good father to my children. You know,
I was 7 years when my dad died. And that has an impact in terms of how I get through. Because sometimes, even when I was at school, sometimes I would seek attention unnecessarily. Because of at home, sometimes I don't get that. And when I see a male teacher teaching his way, like I'll just jump and just seek the attention that you must look at me, that I'm here. But through the conscientize that I get throughout and the support that I get from the society where I come from, through the family, but that has helped me, and that it didn't confine me and say that I'm fatherless, so I should go and commit crime.
I only lived with my father at really 6 years old, but my father, throughout those years, when I grew up, he was a drug dealer, so he was selling drugs in so many ways. But eventually, at some point in his life, he then changed and didn't sell and went to church and all the stuff. But for me, my experiences was that when at that age, I felt there was a distance, although I was with my father. So there wasn't a sense of closeness to my father because he was always with other friends, even at home, you know. So his presence wasn't there in my life. But recently, as I grew up and understanding some other aspects in terms of fatherhood and understanding what he might went through speaking to other fathers, to understanding other stories of others, I then understand my story and his story also, and how maybe because of things that happened in his past, he was then couldn't able to fulfill that unto me, you know, in terms of an emotional level. So there were other levels. It was a level that I felt he was there, but emotionally was distant. But right now we have a great relationship with him, and seldom I tell him that I appreciate him so much, you know, as a father, you know. And also for me, it's just able to learn from the mistakes that happened in the past, in order to be a better father for myself, for my future family.
My dream is to see a reliable, safe public transport in South Africa.
My dream is to see a safe and caring society.
My dream is to see a community which is creative and critical in terms of thinking and flexible.
My dream is to finish up with my diploma.
My dream with Mande Educational Strategies Foundation is to pioneer strides and champion initiatives towards a more integrated, more engaging, more innovative education system that is impactful, that can actually inspire and spur young kids to actually innovate strategies and solutions towards a more conducive and a more productive community and as a collective.
Yazi, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.
I live in Khayelitsha, Cape Town.
My name is Mzwandi Lelukoko. I was born and raised in Durban, but now I'm staying here around Khayelitsha in Side B and L section.
Hello, I'm Anele Sondlo. I live in Khayelitsha, Side B.
My name is Zingsane Nkanjini. I'm from Khayelitsha.
And also you look at during the times of the Land Act, you know, where a lot of men in South Africa, especially black men, were taken out of their homes to go work in the mines, and therefore have to leave the babies. They have to come, maybe.
It was a Khanda.
Not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Be like
forward.
a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
My name is Tawny Kitaen and habits or traumas or issues that had happened in the past that contributed in the present for the whole society. Because we're now, as much as we're speaking about what our own experiences are, but our fathers also have experiences as a collective.
My name is Mondesi Tole from Khayelitsha, Cape Town.
First, you should define fatherhood, and immediately define that, you'll understand what role should the father play in the society.
And in the context of South Africa, we should also look at intergenerational